First thing I say to people is when things go wrong in your life, I say wrong in quotation mark, rather than just see it as a problem to get rid of, just ask the question, what is life trying to teach me here? And in a book, I have a chapter called Disease as Teacher. I don't recommend disease as a way of learning, but if it shows up, there's often learning.
How do we wake up collectively of within those collective structures that we were all born into? That kind of collective field conditioned every one of us. So there's by nature, part of it is invisible to us, given the conditioning. So what can we do in order to take a little bit what's like the last 150 years of individual therapy and all kinds of stuff? Like, how do we take that to a collective level? Maybe you can speak a bit to that.
Well, I mean, first of all, I have to confess, I don't have a totally satisfactory answer to that because I don't know how to wake people up. The expression, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
Mm-hmm.
You can't even lead him to water. And the great baseball player and manager Yogi Berra had this great saying. He said, if the people don't want to go to the ball game, there's nothing you can do to stop them.
Yeah.
You can't force people into awakening. That's a process. No. You can't force people into awakening. That's a process. Now, for me, I know you had a certain process of awakening that was really a spiritual process, and you came to certain realizations. I think our route might have been a bit different. In my case, I didn't have such a kind of illumination. I had to suffer, and I think a lot of people do. So I quote the Greek playwright Aeschylus, who says that the way the master or the God created us, we have to suffer into truth. So I think for a lot of people, it's suffering that is the wake-up call. So I think for a lot of people, it's suffering that is the wake-up call. I don't recommend it, but I know that for a lot of people, it's a mental health crisis, it's a personal crisis like a divorce, it's depression, or it's a physical disease that forms the impetus or that provides the impetus for the wake up. So that the first thing I say to people is when things go wrong in your life, I say wrong in quotation mark, rather than just see it as a problem to get rid of, just ask the question, what is life trying to teach me here? And in a book, I have a chapter called Disease as Teacher. I don't recommend disease as a way of learning, but if it shows up, there's often learning.
And that's also what we are doing here. If you want to start a movement, find your tribe. And by finding your tribe, I mean, find the people that have a similar calling, that don't need to be convinced that that's a good thing. They already know that it's a good thing. And in different parts, in different disciplines, in different aspects of life, everybody can find their tribe. These are people that carry a similar motivation like you do. And that's what they want to bring into the world, or that's what they're already bringing into the world. Is great. Seeing 3 steps ahead is great, and seeing 10 steps ahead is great. All of it is great. Because often when we walk in the trauma field of the world, it's like walking in a fog. And do we have the capacity to walk in a fog, to sometimes not know, to sometimes find out as we are walking? That needs courage, and that needs a strong connection to oneself and to that inner motivation. Like we are walking with a candle in the fog, and we see the next step and the next step. And so doable next steps, connecting to people that are like-minded and that feel like equally motivated, that you can connect to, and where you can bring your creativity in, and or where you can connect your projects into bigger networks, and like this we create together a strengthening and supportive ecosystem and environment. And of course, exposing oneself to also contradicting and sometimes disturbing information helps us to expand our own universe and become even more inclusive and create a higher perspective. And that we also know that in the trauma field of the world, there's a lot of energy and information frozen. When we heal trauma, we liberate the energy. So life starts to become more liquid and fluid. And that energy that's being liberated turns into curiosity and creativity, and is the energy that we need to create the new structures in the world that fit to our current level of development. The fluidity is adaptable. And when we evolve, we need that adaptability to match the current state of the world.